Pulling changes. Welcome to this presentation on pulling changes. In the world of software development, it's crucial to stay up to date with the latest changes and updates to the codebase. This is where the concept of pulling changes comes into play. Pulling changes refers to the process of retrieving the latest version of the codebase from a remote repository, such as a Git repository, and incorporating those changes into your local development environment. Keeping your local codebase in sync with the remote repository is essential for several reasons. First, it ensures that you're working with the most recent version of the code, which may include bug fixes, new features, or performance improvements. Second, it helps to avoid conflicts and merge issues when collaborating with other developers on the same project. By regularly pulling changes, you can stay aligned with the rest of the team and avoid potential conflicts. In this presentation, we'll explore the process of pulling changes, the benefits it provides, and the steps involved in executing this task effectively. Whether you're a seasoned developer or new to the field, understanding the importance of pulling changes and how to do it properly will be crucial for your success in software development. Now, let's dive into the reasons why pulling changes is so important in software development. The first and most obvious reason is to stay up to date with the latest version of the codebase. By regularly pulling changes, you can ensure that your local environment is in sync with the remote repository, which may include bug fixes, new features, or performance improvements. Secondly, pulling changes helps you avoid conflicts when merging your work with that of other team members. If you're working on the same project with multiple developers, it's crucial to keep your local codebase aligned with the rest of the team. By pulling changes, you can minimize the risk of encountering merge conflicts, which can be time-consuming and frustrating to resolve. Another key benefit of pulling changes is the ability to incorporate improvements made by other contributors to the project. When you pull changes, you're not just getting the latest version of the code, but also any enhancements or optimizations that have been made by your team members or the project maintainers. In a collaborative development environment, pulling changes is essential for effective teamwork and maintaining a cohesive codebase. By keeping your local environment in sync, you can ensure that everyone is working with the same version of the code, reducing the likelihood of unexpected issues or discrepancies. Finally, pulling changes helps to maintain a consistent development environment across all team members. This consistency is crucial for ensuring that the application or software you're building behaves the same way on different machines and in different environments. In summary, pulling changes is a critical practice in software development that helps you stay up to date, avoid conflicts, incorporate improvements, collaborate effectively, and maintain a consistent development environment. Now let's take a closer look at the step-by-step process of pulling changes. The first step is to identify the remote repository from which you want to pull the changes. This could be a Git repository hosted on a platform like GitHub, GitLab, or Bitbucket, or it could be a centralized version control system like SVN or Perforce. Once you've identified the remote repository, the next step is to update your local repository. Depending on the version control system you're using, you'll need to execute the appropriate command to retrieve the latest changes. For example, in Git, you would use the git pull command to pull the changes from the remote repository and merge them into your local codebase. After pulling the changes, you may encounter conflicts between your local changes and the changes from the remote repository. In this case, you'll need to resolve the conflicts manually, ensuring that the final codebase incorporates the desired changes from both sources. Once you've resolved any conflicts, it's important to test the updated codebase to ensure that it's still functioning correctly and that the new changes haven't introduced any issues. This step is crucial to maintain the integrity and stability of your application or software. Finally, after verifying that the updated codebase is working as expected, you should commit your changes and push them back to the remote repository. This will keep the remote repository in sync with your local codebase and ensure that other team members can access the latest version of the code. By following this step-by-step process, you can effectively pull changes from a remote repository, resolve any conflicts, and maintain a consistent and up-to-date development environment. In a Git-based development workflow, the process of pulling changes involves a few specific steps. First, you'll need to navigate to your local Git repository. Open a terminal or command prompt and make sure you're in the directory where your local repository is located. Next, you'll want to fetch the latest changes from the remote repository. You can do this by running the command git fetch. This will retrieve the latest changes from the remote repository without actually merging them into your local codebase. After fetching the changes, you'll need to merge them into your local repository. You can do this by running the command git merge. This will incorporate the changes from the remote repository into your local codebase. Alternatively, you can use the shorthand command git pull, which combines the git fetch and git merge commands into a single step. If there are any conflicts between your local changes and the changes from the remote repository, you'll need to resolve them manually. This may involve reviewing the conflicting code and deciding which changes to keep or how to merge them. Once you've resolved any conflicts, it's important to test the updated codebase to ensure that it's still functioning correctly. Make sure to thoroughly test your application or software to identify and address any issues that may have been introduced by the merged changes. Finally, after verifying that the updated codebase is working as expected, you should commit your changes and push them back to the remote repository. This will keep the remote repository in sync with your local codebase and ensure that other team members can access the latest version of the code. By following these steps, you can effectively pull changes from a remote Git repository, resolve any conflicts, and maintain a consistent and up-to-date development environment. Now, let's discuss some best practices for effectively pulling changes in a software development environment. The first and most important best practice is to regularly pull changes from the remote repository. Make it a habit to pull changes at the start of each day or before beginning a new task. This will help you stay up to date with the latest changes and reduce the risk of conflicts or issues. Secondly, it's crucial to communicate with your team members about the latest changes and updates to the codebase. Coordinate with your team to ensure that everyone is aware of the changes and can work effectively together. Before pulling changes, it's a good idea to make a backup of your local codebase. This will allow you to revert to a known good state if necessary, in case the pulled changes introduce any unexpected issues or regressions. When you do encounter conflicts, it's important to resolve them promptly. Addressing conflicts as soon as possible will help to avoid delays or issues in the development process. After pulling changes, it's essential to thoroughly test your local codebase to ensure that the new changes haven't introduced any bugs or regressions. This step is crucial to maintain the integrity and stability of your application or software. It's also a good practice to document the process of pulling changes, including any specific commands or steps required for your development environment. This will help to ensure that the process is consistent and can be easily replicated by other team members. Finally, consider automating the process of pulling changes, especially in a continuous integration, continuous deployment (CI/CD) workflow. Implementing automated scripts or tools can streamline the process and reduce the risk of manual errors or oversights. By following these best practices, you can effectively pull changes from a remote repository, maintain a consistent and up-to-date development environment, and collaborate more effectively with your team. In summary, pulling changes is a crucial process in software development that involves retrieving the latest version of the codebase from a remote repository and incorporating those changes into your local development environment. The key benefits of pulling changes include staying up to date with the latest updates and improvements, avoiding conflicts when collaborating with other team members, incorporating bug fixes and new features, maintaining effective collaboration, and ensuring a consistent development environment across all team members. The pull process involves several steps, including identifying the remote repository, updating your local repository, resolving any conflicts that may arise, thoroughly testing the updated codebase, and then committing and pushing the changes back to the remote repository. In a Git-based workflow, the process of pulling changes involves fetching the latest changes from the remote repository, merging them into your local codebase, and resolving any conflicts that may occur. To ensure that you're effectively pulling changes, it's important to follow best practices, such as regularly pulling changes, communicating with your team, backing up your local codebase, promptly resolving conflicts, thoroughly testing the updated codebase, documenting the process, and automating the pull process whenever possible. By following these best practices and understanding the importance of pulling changes, you can maintain a consistent and up-to-date development environment, collaborate more effectively with your team, and deliver high-quality software products.